right, here we go. This is a new show that we're doing here with the Battles In. It's called Behind the Desk. It will be predominantly with myself, and it'll just be an attempt to answer any questions that you guys might have and avoid audio issues like me not muting my computer. So apologies there. Excited to get started on a new show. Like I said, this will just be an attempt for us to answer questions, to be as transparent as possible, and also we're going to try to feature a guest a show. That might not happen perfectly every show. There might be shows where we have two, but really excited about the guest that we have for tonight's show. Darrick Yray is he's a very large component of the success that Florida State has had, and great insight from him as far as just some of the evaluation process that goes into building a roster. Talks a little bit about the importance of NIL, and then was excited to talk to Darrick for a litany of reasons. But Darrick has been working in college football for about 10 years, and he's seen an awful lot of change from this perspective. So we'll have the interview with Darrick up here probably in the next 10 minutes or so. So we will try to get to questions as you have them in the chat. So please feel free to fire away, and we'll do all that we can to get to those. So one of the questions that I saw here as we were getting started is a question about what has made the Battles In successful. There's probably a long list of things for that, but honestly, it's a lot of people who aren't named Ingram Smith. We have a fantastic legal team in Mark and Ben who have really put us ahead of the curve on a lot of very important subject matters. We have a guy by the name of Max Moody that is fantastic in bringing organization to a area that frequently is just kind of chaotic craziness that can pull you in 100 different directions in a day. We have a wonderful team of young people that work here in Tallahassee. Kevin is in the room here, so I won't speak too much of him just to avoid any kind of awkward conversation. But we've been really fortunate with the people that we've been able to build this team around. And I'll mention a young lady by the name of Amanda Yount. Amanda was just hired by Cal to be their recruiting operations manager, or a title similar to that. At the age of 24, that makes Amanda the youngest person in the country with that title. And, we're really proud to have given people other career opportunities and to have been a launching pad for Amanda, and I'm sure numerous other people. Amanda's in the chat. Amanda, hope you're doing well. I know you are. Go do big things. So other questions that we may have here. Let me just see. Zyler asked, does TBE plan to expand into other sports? Well, we do golf, and we're really proud of that. I would say, by the calendar year, there will probably be, a more uniformity in Florida State NIL. But I will point out that we're proud of the relationship that we have with a litany of stakeholders kind of in this space. We work really well with the groups that contribute to Florida State's NIL outside of football. And, Florida State has been very fortunate to have solid, significant NIL representation in all sports across the board. And Ed, that absolutely includes baseball. And, we're excited about what the future looks like for all sports at Florida State when it comes to NIL. Really proud. Yesterday we had a image of Luke Clanton shared on his Instagram page, where Luke was playing with Scotty Scheffler, the #1 golfer in the world, and had the Battles In logo on his sleeve. That was a cool moment for us, and we're really proud of the relationship that we've built with the golf program and continue to build. Let me just look and see what else we might have to get to here. Let's see. We will have the interview with Darrick here in a couple minutes that we'll go ahead and queue up and get ready for you guys. I did want to talk about the corporate partnership program that we launched a couple weeks ago, but we'll do more of a full court public press on in the weeks and months to come. So the IRS has been, fairly clear about how they think at least new collectives entering the space should be, and that is, we're going to stay away from trying to act as a nonprofit. I'll make that as succinct as possible. But we also realize that we want to provide avenues for people that, that may be tax advantageous for what they're looking to do. And we believe this corporate partnership model allows people to do that. And granted, we're talking about higher dollar levels than maybe most would be able to do at the personal level, but there are a ton of remarkable benefits in here. The partnership levels range anywhere from $15,000 to $500,000. But at those higher levels, you're talking about an invitation to go play golf with Mike Norvell or go fish with Mike Norvell. There's access to the trophy rooms for pre and post game speeches. There's access that, quite honestly, you're not really going to be able to get through other avenues. So we're excited. We're incredibly proud of what the corporate partnership, what these corporate partnership levels and opportunities can bring to people in the future. And it's just going to be more access than that of what maybe even we thought we were going to be able to give. It's also going to be significant marketing opportunities at things like our tailgates. If you have not attended a Battles End tailgate, I would thoroughly encourage you to do that. I'm very proud of how those evolved over the course of the year. And, we learned a lot, and I would dare say we had a hell of a lot of fun too. So as we get closer to the season, we'll certainly have more about the tailgates to you, but that is something that we do in season for football, and will continue to evolve as maybe other sports come underneath one kind of collective umbrella as well. But the tailgates are one of the most fun things that we do, and something that is just an awful lot of fun to be a part of. So, Kev, do we have the interview with DY queued up? We'll go ahead and throw to that. Talked to Darrick 2 days ago about what he has seen in this space, how it's evolved. It was, like I said, 2 days ago, and one badly needed haircut for myself. But we'll throw to Darrick here, and I'll be back with you shortly. Welcome, Darrick Yray. This is the first episode of From the Desk of the Battles End. Figured there was no better guest that we could have than Darrick. Great to see you.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for joining us in our humble studio here.
Yeah, I'm looking for this nice, good setup you all have.
Yeah, proud of it. Absolutely. There's an awful lot of transpired in college football, and still a lot that's yet to be dictated. You've been in the personnel side of the business for 10 years now?
Yeah, I think I've lost count.
Yeah.
I don't know if you count football in dog years by now, but it feels that way.
So just walk us through some of the changes that you've seen, how that's impacted your job as general manager, player personnel, just the evolution of the personnel departments in general. Obviously, a lot of this started with Nick, and that grew to be a 50-man operation, and kind of the role that you play and the importance that this plays in the modern game.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started in this, it was funny. I was talking to someone about this a couple of weeks ago, and you looked at it, and people, back they didn't send out colored mail, right? There, you weren't allowed to pay for parents on official visits besides the meals that they ate. And so official visits were so small. The majority of official visits took place in December and January with one signing day. And it's grown immensely in the last 10 years. And I think, you look back to 2015 and 16, and photo shoots started to become more popularized, and that happened on unofficial visits, and now they're only for official visits. And then video got approved, and right, post COVID 2021 or 2019. I can't remember the exact time frame, but right around there. There's been a lot that's changed. And then you look at the departments that have been ever evolving. And yes, Alabama was the first one to do it with Nick when he got there. And that was the first time that people were, hey, let's take an interest in personnel. I mean, when I started in this business, I was on another podcast a couple of weeks ago with John Middlecoff, and it was him, I, and one other person. And I was working with the offensive side of the ball and in a coaching role. And we didn't have a bunch of people running around. And so even when I got to Oregon State, there was 2 of us. And, it's grown tremendously since then. And even the investment that our administration has poured in, for Florida State, we had to grow and catch up too in 2.5 years when I got here. And so thankful for, Mr. Alford and President McCullough and obviously Coach Norvell for the direction and the stewardship that they showed just to make sure we could have all the resources that we need.
We going to have you around Tallahassee for the next quarter century, or what do you see the evolution of this? And is there, obviously I'm asking you to predict things about the future, and nobody's ever going to have a great batting average there, but where does this evolve? What does your position turn into in the next decade?
Yeah, I think you look at it, and so much of, the future is unpredictable, but I've always been taught, and Pat Hill taught me this when I started, don't worry about someone else's grass being greener, make your own grass green. And there's insert adjective in a couple places of that. But I think when you think of that and be thankful and grateful for the present, if someone told me 20 years from now, hey, you can retire at Florida State and, have the career and live that whole rest of your career at Florida State, I'd be 100% happy with that. And because that's probably going to mean we won a lot of football games and maybe have some jewelry to show for that. And so I think this is a destination job and a destination place. And then, I'm thankful and grateful every single day I get to wake up to put on the garnet and gold.
Obviously, NIL is rather important, and it's what this whole operation is based off of, and it's why we're here. What have you seen from a personnel perspective as to the role that's played, and just kind of the evolution that you've seen in the sport and how that's being applied in as appropriate manner as possible?
I mean, it's a critical factor. And if you look back at it, it's just as important for many, as the degree, the place, the setting. It doesn't need to be the most important factor, but we need to be in the ballpark of everyone else. And so you look at what we're surrounded by and who we're competing with nationally. We need to be in that top conversation in everything we do, from our facility investment that our athletic department has made to the battle's end with NIL where we have it. We need to be top across the board in everything, because you never know what's going to make the difference, but we can't allow to know what's going to make the difference. We have to be good at everything that we do.
How big of a staff do you currently have working with you?
Yeah, we got there's about 60 student interns who sacrifice their time. We have 5 content folks. We have 3 in high school relations right now. We have 4 in our recruiting operations, and we have 5 personnel staff members, 3 of which are in personnel directly, 2 of which are scouts.
How do you go about balancing evaluations, the rather detailed process of shaping a kid or walking a kid through a visit once he gets here? What is the process like that, and how many people will be involved in, say, a linebacker's official visit in the summer?
Maddie McCormick, who is our director of recruiting operations, she does a phenomenal job organizing everything and making sure that everyone's on point. And it takes a lot to organize a staff, this large. And it's not just the recruiting staff who's involved, the coaching staff, the graduate assistants, the analysts, but, her staff that's made up Devin Merriman, who came over and joined us from volleyball, Julia McCarthy and Bree Cobbs, who came through our student intern program. Those 4 girls work their tails off to make sure that Florida State's painted in the best light every single day that someone steps foot on campus. And I think now visits are, so much has changed with them that they're all inclusive vacations in a sense, that you're trying to provide some information with, and also make sure that that's the one shot you have and take advantage of it while they're here for you with those 2 days. But, Coach Norvell being present in that time, and we've tried to be authentic to who we are, right? Because, kids, 16, 17-year-olds are smarter than we give them credit for. They can see through a lot of fake stuff if you're going to put on a Hollywood charade show. And, there's so much to showcase at Florida State, from our academic standing to obviously our facilities and the projects that are ongoing inside and outside of Doak with the Dunlap football facility, but also the renovation of Doak. Obviously the success that we've had with the most players drafted in the ACC the previous year, coming off winning 13 games and an ACC championship, which is the most since 1992 of any team in the ACC. there's so much to highlight. And so how can you summarize that and put that in a box for every individual to see? But it's most important, you have to evoke emotion, but understand of the want and the need and the fit that is here and exists at Florida State.
What does all the construction do right now as you host people over the summer?
Yeah, I mean, it shows the investment and where we're going as a program and the investment of the seriousness that the university has taken towards football and being serious players. You know, the football only facility is going to be game changing for us. The renovations inside Doak are going to be game changing for us, and it all matters. And just, you know, catching up to where we need to be. You know, I think there was a time that we might have been one of only 3 places that didn't have a football only facility. And here in July of 25, that's no longer going to be the case. And so that's going to be state of the art, but it's also going to be functional to prepare them for the next level if that's their direction. But, you know, everything is built there to make sure how can we grow them, you know, not just athletically, but also academically and socially, right? So when they leave Florida State, they have a degree in one hand and they have rings in the other.
Darrick, I appreciate your time.
And likewise, thank you for having me. And I mean, please donate to the Battle's End, and Seminole Boosters continue to support our student athletes in the program, and we're just getting started.
All right. So big thanks to Darrick Yray, somebody that we've thoroughly enjoyed kind of working with and getting to know. And Darrick's a rising star. We edited out some of that conversation, but like what I asked him was, as a general manager, there's not a whole lot else, at least currently, in the college football professional trajectory. And I don't know if that means that we have Darrick Yray for the next quarter century or what, but Darrick's been a great asset here to Florida State, somebody that I've thoroughly enjoyed working with, and just happy to be able to give him a platform like that and hopefully give you guys a little bit more of an idea as to what he does and what so many other people that work their rear ends off, you know, behind the scenes that a general fan base may never think of or consider. A couple other questions that we had received earlier. One, we had a super chat on this, and then we had a couple other people ask similar questions. So Stan Tipton, thank you very much for the super chat and the support of the Battle's End. He asked, I'm a Battle's End member, and with schools now able to pay players, will NIL still be needed? Yeah, it absolutely will be. Now, there's a whole lot of evolution yet to occur here, and a whole lot of clarity that needs to be brought to this industry and subject matter in general. But I don't think collectives are going to go anywhere. Now, the number of players that collectives work with might shrink. The kind of current role that they play in the ecosystem may change, whereas currently I think we have 67 student athletes signed, and we remind me to come back to that, have a new signing to announce to you guys that we did today. Maybe that number shrinks. Maybe it's somewhere between 20 and 30. I just don't know exactly how this is going to play out and what it's going to look like as far as the division of whatever pool is made possible in a rev share. So, Stan, I do appreciate your question, very much appreciate your support, but I don't know that collectives will change. This space will evolve, but I don't think collectives are going anywhere in the immediate future. Another question that we had was, what are some of the more difficult aspects of operating and being associated with a collective? I'll tell you, there's a ton of different stuff. You work with 10 different people and types of people throughout the course of a day. But there's also just wild intricacies that you might not think of as a fan. I'll give you an example. If we could have Alex Mastromano on here, I would have a camera and a microphone on Alex in the morning, at lunch, in the afternoon, in the evening. Alex is hilarious. Alex is super personable. He's very sharp. His accent makes him, even funnier than he is, just naturally. But Alex is an international student. All of our NIL activities have to be done with Alex when he's in his home country. Now, we're fortunate that that Max was able to travel with Alex recently to Australia, and we'll have some content for you guys tied to that trip. But it makes doing things with Alex Mastromano and other players with an international background exceptionally hard. It's also a challenge in this space because things are constantly changing. The question that Stan asked is something that not necessarily like, will we be around in 6 months, but things change. What was possible 6 months ago is now no longer doable. What was not possible 6 months ago is suddenly becoming kind of industry standard and expected. So you are still in kind of the nascent stages of an industry, and an industry that is changing in front of our eyes. But planning long term based off stuff like that is a challenge. We've got some other questions here in the chat, but had a similar question as to like, what is your favorite part of operating a collective or running a collective? Well, I mean, first of all, like, I'd say like 4 or 5 of these pictures up here are from my from my personal library. I mean, stuff that I had on my walls when I was growing up or whatever. Like, I'm a diehard Florida State fan who was never tall, fast, strong, or good enough to actually play at Florida State. This is an incredible experience. This is a passion project for every person that's associated with the Battles Inn, and it's just been amazing. For me personally, my mom was able to visit for the Duke game last year, and that's a weekend that I will cherish and remember for the rest of my life. Just, she's the one that is graduate and ever so passionate about Florida State, and I learned a lot from my mom, and that was an awesome experience. To that end, another thing that immediately jumps out to me is, getting to know some of the parents of these kids. Became very close with Jordan Travis's parents last year, as an example. Tatum Bethune, Mr. and Mrs. Bethune are incredible people, and it's very clear when you're around them as to how they produced a son that's of such high quality. Rob DeLoach is one of my favorite people in the world, and somebody that we might have on this show at some point in time. So, getting to know the players at a deeper level, but particularly getting to know the parents has absolutely been one of my favorite things about this opportunity. Brett Taylor asks in the chat, Ingram, I'm sure you can't give any details, but are you more aware than the average fan? Oh, about the ace? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have read that question. It's not appropriate for the collective to comment on future conference affiliation. That is made by people that are not in this room, and we'll let that play out. We'll see what happens. I think we have a decent idea as to that there will be some type of change on that landscape in the future, but that's not something that not something that we'll be able to dictate. Our old friend Jonathan Breimer asked, in addition to contributions, what low-hanging fruit actions can Florida State fans do to level up as close as possible to schools like Bama, Ohio State, and other Tier 1 schools? Well, Jonathan, people like yourself who are adamant supporters of the Battles Inn have been fantastic for us, but I can't stress to y'all how important it is to just do simple things like hit the like button. I know that's cliche, and you hear that in all sorts of YouTube content that you may consume, but hitting the like button, commenting on a video, sharing stuff on social media, it is it's absolutely massive. And it is if you're not in a place to where you can't sign up for $20 or $50 or $100 a month, you can be an incredible ambassador for us simply by word of mouth marketing, by sharing things on social, and by doing very simple things to help us augment our reach from a YouTube algorithm perspective. Yeah, Brett, no problem. Happy to answer your question. We'll just let other people decide complicated matters like conference affiliation. Zyler, we have another question of what's the status of the collective association? So the collective association, also referred to as the TCA, is something that the Battles Inn was one of, I think, 6 founding members of. It's a group that we're very proud to associate with. We've done a lot of work in DC and have done a lot of work in various places, always pushing for players to receive appropriate treatment as we deem or as we see a model that hasn't been very player friendly over the last 40 or 50 years. The collective association is very active, and we meet once a week. Or we meet once a month, and then I'm on the board, and we meet bi-weekly for that as well. So a lot of things going on with that, continue to grow. I believe there's now 40 collectives that are part of the TCA, and that's something that we are proud to be a part of, and it has had a lot of positive benefits. I mean, look, the day before signing day, I can't call Matt Hibbs at Classic City and get a thorough rundown as to his opinion on things. But outside of situations like that, it's great to be able to communicate with people who run the collectives at Georgia or Tennessee or Ole Miss or Southern Cal or some of the other schools that are in that association. That is beneficial for us to have a knowledge of the market in football, but also a lot of other sports. And it has paid very positive dividends for us. And that's a association that we're very proud to have. Are the new recruits on campus signed to the Battles Inn? So if you mean new recruits by June enrollees, yes, we will have announcements tied to kids that have just recently enrolled. You have to let kids trigger student athlete status before we ever have any kind of official communication with them. And so we let that transpire, but we are negotiating a series of contracts and look forward to having some announcements tied to that. I mentioned this a second ago, and we'll follow up, but we're always working on different things, and we signed a year-long contract with Conrad Hussey today. So Conrad is a massive part of the future of the Battles Inn as far as unlocking marketing opportunities, both here in Tallahassee and throughout the state. And we're really proud to be able to partner with athletes like Conrad, and that's something that we'll have a graphic made and designed and out on social media in the next day or two. But that is something that I can, give you guys a little bit of, inside info or breaking news or however you want to look at that. Let's see. All of these people who said, this is James B. James, a fantastic supporter of the Battles Inn. People who said in the beginning of TBE that they needed proof of concept. Well, 2023 showed that. Yeah, no, look, I mean, we took a very calculated approach as to how go about announcing ourselves to the fan base. This is a landscape that can be convoluted, that can be confusing, and that can be people can be leery to jump headfirst into providing support. So we went live in November of 2022, maybe December 1st, somewhere in that area. And I don't think we started soliciting, public involvement until March of 2023. So 5 months or so. And we wanted to give people an idea as to who we were, how we were going to go about trying to do our business. And, hopefully we've done that in a manner in which you guys feel comfortable supporting and continue to jump on the train. If you're not a member of the Battles Inn, I would thoroughly encourage you to sign up at whatever level you deem as, financially responsible. We love the support that we've received. Jen, thanks for the super chat here. We are either the largest or the second largest collective in the country based off membership and other kind of factors. That's incredible. but we still, candidly, that covers about 30% of our payroll, our membership does. So we have very large, people that support us and make this entity possible, but we have to continue to grow. We have to continue to evolve, and, your support and your membership makes that possible. James B. asked one final question here for the night. Where are the white quarter zips? I believe we just received a new batch of quarter zips in. Darrick was wearing one in that interview that we just did a second ago, and we will have those up on the website here shortly if they're not otherwise. So, look, this was just a first run, kind of a beta test. This is something that I'm really excited to do. We'll do this weekly. We were going to do this yesterday. I've been battling the flu, and we had to push 24 hours. So I think historically, I think moving forward, this will be on Wednesday nights. It'll either be Wednesday or Thursday. We look forward to taking questions, trying to be as open and transparent an organization as we can be in this space, and thoroughly enjoy, the conversation that we've had tonight, the interaction that we've had tonight. And we look forward to joining you next week. So till then, I'm Ingram from everybody associated with the Battle's End. Look forward to talking to you soon.